There is now a recorded increase in the numbers of women over 50 becoming pregnant through IVF treatment. However, some of these women have made newspaper headlines, becoming mothers well into their 60s, some married and some single. This seems to have provoked some strong feelings, chief among which are that it is somehow unfair on the child, and that it is just selfish. We need to remember the lessons of our previous example, and ask if the child that is to be caused could exist under other conditions. At the ages in question, it is almost certain that a donor egg will be required, and even for a married couple, donor sperm may also be necessary. Even where the prospective mother has some choice over the donors, the chances of the same egg and sperm coming together and successfully implanting for any other mother are extremely slim to the point of vanishing. Given this, we find that our answer is no. The child that would be caused would not exist under other conditions. This means that a life with an elderly parent, with the likelihood of losing her at an early age, is not a condition inflicted upon the child, but a condition of and for that child's existence. We can only hope to call that child's existence unfair if we can judge that its life is not worth living, and given that so many children are orphaned at young ages, but grow up to lead fulfilled lives regardless, we can hardly do that. I have had someone respond to this point by stating that the child would never know otherwise if it didn't exist, as if that would somehow be better, but better for who? Not for the child. Certainly we can say that it would not be wrong to not cause the child to exist, but it doesn't let us conclude that it would be wrong to cause that existence. The matter of selfishness is also a little misguided, at least in the way that most people seem to intend it, as selfish against the needs of a child. It seems to me that to a large extent the decision to have children is always selfish in this regard. After all, until the child is, at the very least, conceived, there is no existing child to be selfless for. Selfless love comes only when there is someone to love selflessly. We may do better to approach the matter of fairness and selfishness from a completely different angle. Perhaps we can argue that it is unfair on other people. The case goes like this. When a child is born, it being incapable of independent life for many years, its existence imposes a responsibility on others to rear it. Principally, this responsibility falls to the parents, though when they fail or become unable to meet that responsibility, others take it up to a greater or lesser extent, either within the extended family or within wider society via state intervention and aid. We can then argue that if someone chooses to become a parent in the full knowledge that they are or will soon become incapable of meeting the responsibilities that come with a child, then they are knowingly imposing a burden of responsibility on others without their consent. It is only in this sense that we can call the choice unfair or selfish, though we are more likely to use the term irresponsible. However, we must not be too hasty. First of all, we have to assume that no explicit consent has been given by others, be they friends or family, to take the burden of responsibility. Alternatively, perhaps the prospective mother does indeed have the resources to ensure the child is cared for when she is unable or no longer around. This is certainly true of some reported cases. And then there is the matter of implicit consent from society. Many people choose to have families under a range of conditions who know that they cannot support or care for those children without state help of some kind. Although in some cases we may disapprove of their choice, and as I have suggested here, call it irresponsible, we do not declare that they may not make that choice, deny it by law, or declare them to be bad people. Instead, we accept their freedom to make that choice, accept that the child is not to blame for its consequences, and so should not be penalized. We support them. I would suggest that what is sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander, and that this line of argument has very limited force. There is, however, another line of argument that seems to go unnoticed in the papers and news programs. When these older women seek IVF treatment, they will almost certainly require an egg donor, which leads to the possibility of women in bad financial situations exploiting their bodies to the benefit of someone else for money. It would seem that women are travelling to the Ukraine in particular, where people have the desired North European characteristics. But it is not only to Eastern Europe, but also to the US, where there are accounts of young women putting themselves through college by donating eggs. There, having the desired characteristics, be that blue eyes or high grades, can earn more money. The ethics of this trade are by no means clear, any more than they are for kidney donation or prostitution. Where a free choice over one's body ends and the desperate need to meet the cost of living begins has long been debated, with the only real solution being to ensure that no one should feel that they have to take such measures if it is not what they want, a solution that seems practically irrelevant given how unlikely it is that society will attain it. If the trade was ended, we may protect some at the cost of taking from others a possible means of earning money without giving them an alternative. We also penalise those who freely choose to donate without regret. Another consequence is the state of IVF in the UK, where there is a desperate shortage of egg donors. The rights and wrongs of parenting at these ages are once again not always as they appear, and when we do look closely, I'm afraid that I only see shades of grey. It reinforces my frustration at just how quickly people pass judgments, so often with regards to what women may or may not do with their bodies, without really considering the issues. This tendency is still more apparent with regards to a later topic of the series, late-term abortion.